So recently, someone online said I shouldn't be a therapist because I'm affected by my client's trauma, because I'm open about the fact that I experience vicarious trauma all the time. You know this message, right? Tell us right here in the comments because we do not have to pretend like these thoughts don't already go through our minds. Thank you so much. And I really need you to hear this. I've given my career to helping people survive the absolute worst things that ever happened to them. So, no, I will not fucking apologize for being human. I will not shrink to make someone else feel more comfortable with the reality of what this work costs, because denying my normal experience of vicarious trauma is doing a disservice to my own brain, body, and spirit. But even more so, it is a disservice to you, to all trauma therapists, to the whole profession. And hear me when I say this. If you're a trauma therapist who has ever felt this same sting, that shame of being affected by this work, you are not alone. And I'm here to talk about it. Whew. If we haven't met yet, real quick side note, I'm Jenny Hughes, founder of the Brave Trauma Therapist Collective and champion for being human in our work as trauma therapists. All right, let's come back to the gut punch. The comment that said I shouldn't be a therapist because I get impacted by my client's trauma right here, that comment hit every nerve. Not because I believe it. I'm the first to say it's total bullshit, but because I know how many therapists out there do believe this messaging. This kind of comment feeds right into the deepest fear that so many of us carry silently, that if we feel too much, we're somehow weak, that being affected by our work means that we're not cut out for it, that our humanity is a liability. Now, let me be very clear. Being affected by your client's trauma does not make you unfit to do this work. It makes you human. And that humanity, that's your strength. It is not a flaw. We're trauma therapists. We are badass fucking trauma therapists. We sit with people in the rawest moments of their lives every single day. We hold space for grief, rage, horror, helplessness, all the emotions our clients could not safely feel at the time. Of course, that has an impact. You cannot walk through water without getting wet. And you can't do this work without it touching you. What we experience is not weakness. Yeah, it's vicarious trauma. The brain and body's natural human response to chronic exposure to other people's trauma. And denying the fact that vicarious trauma is a real thing, that it exists, and that we all experience it only makes it worse. Now, when I read that comment, I felt that old familiar anger, but underneath that rage, grief. Because I remember when I used to believe that voice, when that voice was also mine. I remember when I thought that I was the problem, when that voice would say, "You need thicker skin, get it together." And now I speak out because I do not want even one more therapist to internalize that lie. I built Brave so that therapists like you wouldn't have to white knuckle your way through this career wondering if you're just not cut out for it, because you are. You are not failing. You're feeling, you're normal, you're human. And there is a difference. There is a major difference between those two things. Okay. The part of this story that really floored me, it wasn't the hate, actually. Yeah, it pissed me off. Yeah, I had a very visceral reaction, but it was pretty short-lived because of the love that came after that. Because right immediately after that comment, the link to this video is right below here. It's on a different platform and you can go see. All these other comments poured in. I don't know who these people are. They might be therapists, they may not be therapists. It doesn't really matter because they are all humans and they all rallied to say, yeah, that work is hard. It is heavy. It is normal to be affected. And yes, thank you for naming it. And that contrast between that hate and that love, going from the attack to validation, that's what stopped me in my tracks because it reminded me of exactly why I do this work. Not just trauma therapy, but my work in the Brave Trauma Therapist Collective. It's a place where we know as a community that being seen and supported in our brain is what heals it. And those comments that came after these nasty, nasty words was so much validation and just such a major reminder of the fact that when we support each other, we become so much more resilient. It is this lived example and proof of what vicarious resilience can look like in real time. So, if you've asked yourself, even just quietly, am I too soft for this? Am I the only one who feels wrecked after sessions? Am I just not cut out for this? You're not. You are cut out for this, okay? That question was planted by a system that praises detachment and punishes humanity. The outrage that I felt at that comment, it was not just personal, it was political. It was about every trauma therapist who's ever been told to toughen up instead of being offered support. And the flood of voices that came in afterward, the ones who said, of course, trauma therapists experience vicarious trauma. That's not just community, that's a movement that's happening out there. That's the proof that we're not isolated outliers. We're actually the majority. We're just too often silent about that fact. And that's why Brave exists, because this profession needs more than platitudes and burnout prevention checklists. It needs spaces where we can tell the truth. It needs spaces where outrage and tenderness are both allowed in the room. So, no, I will not apologize for being affected by my work. I will not apologize for being human. And I will not accept a narrative that says my empathy is a flaw. If anything, I am proud. I am proud that I feel. I am proud that I care. And I am proud to be part of a profession that, when we support each other, does change lives, including our own. And if someone can't handle the reality of what this work costs, they're not the one doing it. And I can promise you that that person who commented is not a trauma therapist. You are. You are a trauma therapist. And you do not have to carry this alone. Not here, not anymore. This work is heroic. And if you're ready for real support, not performative bullshit, Brave is here for you. So reach out, comment, let us know what you're needing. We've got you.